This is Sarah from Natural Peace Living. We are here today and we're going to start kind of a new series going on with you guys. I'm going to start going over some of the major arcana cards in the tarot. So these videos are going to be like a tutorial, kind of a getting to understand and getting to know some of the cards that are making up the tarot. So we say the major arcana cards. There are 22 of these cards in each tarot deck. And they kind of play out like a... It's kind of cool, actually. They play out like a screenplay, almost like a plot for a movie. And today we're actually going to be starting out the Major Arcana by talking about the Fool cards. So I've pulled the Fool card from some of my favorite tarot decks, some of the ones that I work with. I'm going to show you guys the illustrations in each deck, and we're actually going to talk about what the Fool card means, and kind of how to look at it with a practical viewpoint, and understanding the message that comes up with this card, and if it's something that you've seen, how to use it and how to learn from it. So I'm just going to read you something that I pulled out of a calendar actually a couple of years ago. I had the Llewellyn's tarot calendar from 2018, and I kept the calendar after 2018 was over, because I liked some of the illustrations in it. You can actually see I've got the Magician back here and the Empress card from the Shadowscapes tarot. This guy is from the Rider-Waite tarot, and then there's a Strength card. The Strength card also as well from a different deck that I really like, and I just like to have those pictures around because they're pretty. So I cut out some of those illustrations from the calendar, and then I went back through and I found this really awesome write-up that is all about the Major Arcana, and it, like I said, it shows like almost like a screenplay. So I'm going to read you guys what was written about the Fool. And then we're going to go into some of these cards and show you guys some of the illustrations and understand what comes out of that card. So it says, one day, a young man put on his favorite clothes and began a journey. He took a bag of useful items and his faithful dog. Guided by an inexplicable drive, he started off walking with confidence because he trusted that inner voice. His white rose reminded him of his pure intentions, the red feather in his cap, of his passion and commitment to the quest. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with the Rider-Waite tarot card, because this is a really popular deck that a lot of people work out of, and really are familiar with. So if you've seen the Rider-Waite deck, this card should make sense to you. So this is the card actually that the write-up was talking about. So he's got the red feather in his hat, he's got the dog at his feet, the sun shining, and his favorite clothes, you know, all those pretty clothes. So the Fool card, it talks about setting out on a journey. It talks about kind of like a rebirth idea. It talks about naiveness and just being open to wherever the road takes you. The Fool is a wonderful card. It's, like I said, it's all about like rebirth and wanting to get out there and knowing that you just want to do what you want to do. You may not know how the hell you're going to pull it off. You don't know what's in store for you, but you're okay with it. The Fool is, like I said, very naive because he's not overthinking it. He just knows that this feels good and he wants to go in this direction. So this is out of, like I said, this is the Rider-Waite deck. And that's a really popular tarot deck, very well recognized deck. Now the next card we're going to look at, this is also the Fool card from the Dreaming-Waite tarot, which is the first deck that I actually learned out of. And it's got very similar illustrations. You have the sunshine, and the sunshine in this card is very symbolic because it's saying that like you're making this decision from a place of clarity. There is a sun card in the Major Arcana. We'll talk about that in another video. And the sun card is always like the yes card, like the clarity card, like everything is out in the open, the green light, you have this, go for it. So the sun in the Fool card is really symbolic of like, you have this, yes, you should totally do this, you should go for it. Don't worry about the when or the where or the why or the how or all the whats. Just go. It's symbolic too that the Fool is standing on the cusp of that cliff. Like, okay, here we go. What's going to happen? I don't know. And then we also see, so he's got his dog with him in this card, the companion, saying that you're not going to be on this journey alone. You're going to go with someone you trust, or a couple someones you trust, and the Fool goes along this wonderful journey and meets all these wonderful people. It's kind of like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing. You know, you're starting out alone, but you got Toto with you. And you're going to go in this direction. and see all these wonderful things. And he also has his backpack in this card. So so that is out of the Dreaming Way Tarot deck, which I really love that deck. I started out with that deck 5 years ago. So now the next card, these are all the Fool card, but this is from a different deck. So this is the Everyday Tarot deck by Bridget Esselmont, which is a really awesome, very clean cut tarot deck. I really like to work out of this deck, and I like the colors. You have your purple and your gold. So again, you're seeing some of the same sort of symbolism in here. Now this one also has the white rose in it. So she's got the white flower, and it's a he, looks more like a he in these cards. But we're going to actually see a card that it looks more feminine than masculine in just a minute. So you have your white flower, which symbolizes innocence and purity. Again, you're seeing like a real sense of clarity. You've got the mountains in the background, which come out of in the Rider-Waite deck also has mountains in the background of that. And this Fool is kind of stepping off the cliff. So he's a little bit more like gung-ho, like here we go. I'm you know, half on the cliff, half off. And I want to point out, if you can see the label or the number on this card, the Fool card is labeled 0. So the Major Arcana has 22 cards in it. So it's 0 through 21. 0 is your starting point. You're starting at nothing. You're starting at nowhere. You have no idea what you're going into. You have no idea what's going to happen. It's really just a wonderful card of like embracing possibility into the unknown. If you guys have seen Frozen, the new Frozen 2, I think of the Fool when I think of that new song that came out from that movie, because we have no idea what we're getting ourselves into. But it's not like a bad thing. It's a really good, like, I have no idea, I'm game for the journey kind of feeling to it when the card's upright. So, sorry, I have peppermint in my mouth. We're also going to look at this one. This version of the Fool card is coming out of the Shadowscapes Tarot deck, which is a really beautiful deck. I got this deck about 2 years ago, and it was pretty cool because when I purchased it, it was like relearning tarot because the cards and the illustrations are so detailed. You can see this is very different from the other 3 decks that we've looked at. There's a lot going on in here, and even sometimes I don't always see all the stuff that's going on in these cards because there's so much detail in them. So this card has more of like a free falling feel to it, very similar but different from the other ones that we've looked at, in that it's almost like she's remember watching Titanic and Rose is standing on the bow of the boat and she's flying, and that's what the sensation is when I look at this card, feeling like we're flying, we have no idea what's going to happen, but something's going to catch us, and that we're moving forward and we're going out into it and we're open for the adventure. She's got the little fox next to her, little creature, her companion. But this is a very graceful, very elegant version of the Fool card. So we've talked about what the card means when it's pulled upright. Now, that doesn't mean it's not, you know, they can't come up reversed. When the Fool card is reversed, we get the sense of like hesitation, or not being ready, or maybe jumping into something too soon, or feeling like, I don't know if this is time yet. I don't know if I should be doing this, or I always kind of see it more along the lines of like, you really want to go forward, but you're stopping yourself, you're hesitating with something, you have so many questions and you're not really sure which way to go with it. So instead of jumping into the unknown and just being like, okay, whatever is going to catch me is going to catch me, we stop, we hesitate, we're questioning it, we're doubting it, we're not sure, I don't know, can I possibly do this? When the Fool card is reversed, that's how I see that card. But when it's upright, it's like that encouraging adventure type of card. Like, let's go for this. We have no idea what's going to happen, but it's going to be a wonderful experience. It's going to be a wild ride. We're going to learn all these wonderful things. And it's the beginning, the very beginning of the journey. And it's cool because the Fool card will go through the Major Arcana, like I said, almost like a screenplay. Like, this is the actor, the Fool is the actor, and he goes through every single lesson that comes from the Major Arcana until he gets to the end card, which is the World. we'll talk about that in a couple other videos. And then when we get to the conclusion, when we get to the world card, it cycles back and we start all over again. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for taking a look. So if you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to get in touch with me. The decks that we're looking at today, we have the Everyday Tarot deck by Bridget Esselmont. This is a really awesome deck, very clean cut, very affordable too for a tarot deck. We have these guys out of the Shadowscapes tarot deck, very elaborate, really elegant, very pretty, almost kind of like Renaissance-y, medieval-y looking cards. Then we have our Rider-Waite Tarot, very common deck, really awesome though because it holds kind of a standard to it with the different elements and the different illustrations, and there's a lot of symbolism in this deck. And then the deck that I've been working on the longest is the Dreaming Way Tarot. I believe the artist is Rome Choi for that deck, but this is also a really beautiful deck, very kind of clean cut, easy to understand, really good for anybody who's starting out with tarot. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for checking me out today. Feel free to like or share or do whatever you have to do with these videos. I'm glad that you guys are here with me. If you have any questions, get in touch with me. And this is Sarah from naturalpeaceliving.com. Take care. Have a good night. Take care.